Phyrexia has come to Pauper, and new card has been added to the format. Today, we will look at 3 new decks, starting with Poison Storm. This deck relies on chaining multiple ritual effects and kill your opponent with poison counters. This is my favorite deck, but the other 2 are also powerful. Watch until the end to not miss anything, and if you enjoy this kind of content, remember to give a like and subscribe. So, without further ado, let's jump into the games. The first match is against Burn, arguably the format's best deck, so this is a literal trial by fire. Luckily, I was on the play and they had a slow hand. This turned in my favor, as now I can play the prologue and proliferate the lands and my opponent, except that I forgot to, this time. Since we already got a poison counter on them, it's just a matter of chaining spells and drawing cards to keep spreading the poison. Contentious Plan works very well with the Prism, and it keeps putting counters on it while also replenishing or depletion lands. Once the Prism has fulfilled its job, we can sacrifice it to Deadly Dispute. The idea of chaining so many spells together is to weather the storm to help us survive and win the following turns. Sadly, it came a turn too late, but more often than not, you'll find that even small storms can put you back into game to close things off later. This is exactly what happened this game, and since we found our card advantage spells that also had counters to our opponents, it was just a matter of time before we took over game number 1. For game number 2, my opponent had one of the best starts possible, by chaining burn spells and putting me down to 10 on turn 2. With that in mind, I decided to test my luck and try and chain spells to find Weather the Storm. Rituals are a great way to accomplish this, and with some mana filtering and a bit of luck, I was able to chain a big storm and put myself into an excellent position against burn while having 2 card advantage spells still in my hand. The opponent kept adding things to the board, but as long as I kept finding my proliferate spells that give poison counters to them, it was just a matter of turns until I made them concede. Our second deck is similar, as it relies on poison counters to win the game and run cards that synergize perfectly with the mechanic. This is an aggressive version that relies heavily on creatures to finish your opponent, but also has card advantage spells that give poison counters to your opponents, and gates to help small creatures to get through. In this game, I play against blue-black control Infect. Yeah, the poison mechanic is the new thing players will be trying through the next couple of weeks, and you need to know all kinds of decks around it. We will play our creatures to keep applying pressure and save our pump spell until the right moment. I attacked, and I decided to kill the creature with Toxic, which is great because now I can pump the one with Infect to deal more poison damage. They need to kill me right now, as if they get rid of the rat, they will die to proliferate. They failed to do so, and now we move to our second game. I added some Duress post Sideboard to get rid of the removal and card advantage, but unfortunately, we both had to mulligan to 5, and in the long run, this favors control decks. I led with the rat to avoid my creature getting killed by a virulent wound, and started applying some pressure, but since I don't have better plays, I played the mirror, which immediately died to removal. I kept attacking with the rats while playing more creatures that also died in the process, and eventually my rat died as well. I played 2 more creatures, but the opponent kept finding removal spells, while I kept drawing pump ones. At one point, I could play a mirror and save it with stamina, but another cast down prevented me from winning the game while they found their last poison to kill me. In game 3, we both kept 7 cards, and I took down the one that gave poison counters to us. This will be huge, as it will pass some time before they can find a second one while we apply pressure on our opponents. I kept finding increase in stamina. The latter are key as they pair very well with the rat, keeping it alive while the rat triggers its proliferate ability when it dies. Pumping the creature with Toxic doesn't do anything for the poison counters, but still, I don't have anything better to do. We battled for keeping the rat alive, and I was able to pay for the counter toll as I didn't have 3 poison counters yet. The rat survives, and with another Infect creature, we now present a lethal attack next turn if they don't find removal. They didn't and conceded. The last deck is Mono Blue Tron, which aims to quickly cast pricey spells by finding Ursa lands. We also run cards like Ever-Flowing Chalice to accelerate our mana and the newly introduced Experimental Augury to find the other Tron pieces and populate the chalices. Game number 1 is against Mono White. I started with a natural Tron, and with the help of a Chalice and a lucky top deck, I managed to cast a turn 3 Ulamog Crusher. To my surprise, the opponent didn't concede right away, but they didn't find a way to remove the monster on the next turn, and they did not want to come back for a game number 2. We move to another match, and we keep a slower hand. This opponent is playing Slivers, an evergreen deck that hasn't received any updates since forever, almost as evergreen as Mono Black control. I countered something this time and crafted on my following turns. Augury proliferates the Chalice and enables more mana at my disposal. I decided to play it safe while keeping 2 repeals in hand, and once I felt comfortable, I decided to play Ulamog with repeal backup, and they conceded. In game number 2 we kept an okay hand, and with 2 Tron lands and Trinket Mage, we could assemble our combo by turn 4. However, we naturally drew our third combo piece, which enables different plays. Energy Refractory is excellent at filtering mana, and now I can play all blue cards in my hand if I want to. I bounce a creature to gain momentum and play another blocker on my turn. The opponent decides to attack, and now I can bounce the flanking Sliver and double block one of the lords. I then proceeded to find a Crusher, play a Muldrifter, a Chalice, and pass the turn. Opponent realizes there was very little they could do at this point and decided to concede.
Now, if you're new to Pauper and want to test other cool decks, click into that playlist. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.